Welcome to a new segment of Trade Cave where I go over some day trades. Now these were from the Tesla chart today that I was working on. I had a couple of successful trades that I thought I'd like to do a play-by-play for the viewers here. Maybe you'll find that interesting. Maybe you'll get some insight into how I look at a trade and how I execute those trades here on this video. That's sort of what my goal is here, to be sort of like a video journal for myself, as well as potentially provide insights to the audience as to how I execute a trade and that looks like. I've been trading Tesla quite successfully for a little while here lately, so I've been pretty happy about that. And I started to think, okay, maybe I could bring that sort of content to the channel. And perhaps in the future, I might be looking at some live day trading, but that's not anytime soon. So that is potentially something in the future, but not at this current time. At this current time, I'm just going to be doing reviews of trades and what they looked like as I was going into them. Today, I had a quite successful trade on Tesla that I'd like to go over. If you are looking at this chart here on the left, this little orange area, that is the pre-market. I like to open up the pre-market when I'm trading early in the morning, right as market opens, to get some idea of the previous structure that's leading into today's structure on the candles. So if you've been with me for a while, you know what I'm about to say about this chart, exactly what I saw this morning and what got me super excited, and that is a cup and handle. You can see this nice cup right here, cup, and then it went to that handle right there. Right there is the handle, and that was the very exciting part when I started to see that form. And there's a couple reasons that was so exciting. One, this cup is just beautiful. Two, this handle is perfection. Three, that RSI. Look at this RSI. This is a 5-minute chart, by the way. It peaked right here on this candle here, with RSI coming up to about 76. And then on this big red candle here, it came right back to 50. That's a 50 RSI retracement. When it bounced off of that, I got super excited about this trade. Now, if we go into, I like to dive down deeper into the 1-minute chart too, as well, when I'm looking at trades, to kind of get an idea of the micro structure. This is actually what I'm looking at is super typical of Tesla. You'll see it doing a channel, a descending channel, right? It'll do a slight fake out to the upside and then jump real hard to the absolute bottom of the channel, like right there, before continuing on. Like it'll look as though it'll do a breakdown fake out or a breakout fake out. It loves doing that. Anyways, as you can see on here, yeah, it went from the top nearly to the bottom of the 1-minute RSI here before continuing on and then hanging out in the mid-range of it. Now, generally, I wanted to get in. There it is. I wanted to get in at this red line. Honestly, that's where I really wanted to enter. I wanted to enter on the break of this downward channel. And there's a reason I didn't do that, and I'll show that to you here in a moment. But for now, that became my stop loss area. Like that's where my stop loss area became. Originally, that was supposed to be my entry zone, but I could not enter until this big candle here at 725, because the candle at 710, which started to break out of the downward channel, it touched the channel. That's not a break, so that's too early. I can't get in. At 715, again, the wick touched the top of this channel here. That is not a break. I cannot get in. Then at 720, I had this doji candle here, which was a break. You see how it's completely free of that downward channel? Completely free of it. That is the candle where I could enter. Now I had to wait for that candle to complete. And so the first candle I could enter in was 725. Now let's dig down into the 1-minute candles and see what happened at 725. At 725, I had this candle here. There it is. This was the first candle I could enter. And this is the 1-minute candle, mind you. And this candle just went up the whole time. And personally, for me, that would be chasing. I don't chase trades. So I couldn't enter on that candle either, because a big old candle like this tends to get followed by a big old dip like this. You can see right here, we got a nice big candle, nice big dip. Over here, nice big candle down, nice big rip. That's what I was expecting to happen to me there, right? Nice big candle, rip, or dip, excuse me. I was expecting that to happen. Thing is, that didn't happen, all right? So it didn't happen. And then we started getting these little candles. And I watched those for about 5 minutes, and they started getting toward the top of the RSI on the 1 minute. Okay. So at that point, I said, all right, I need to wait for the RSI on the 1 minute to cool off, and then I could potentially get into this trade with a stop loss, around the area where I wanted to enter before, which is down here. With that set in place, I could enter this trade. And what happened? So it started, I got a red candle. That's when I started getting excited. It was on this red candle here at 732. And this little dip right here was exactly what I wanted. Okay. I set my buy order at the 365 mark for my call option. I'll show you my call options here in a moment and go over the price and the strike and all that stuff. And I watched the RSI come down to a 50, about a 50 on the 1 minute. And if you remember, the 50 retracement is generally an area where it likes to bounce. So I got in there. Also, this was an inverted hammer on the 1 minute right there. Inverted hammer, 50 retracement, bullish, bullish. I was looking for it to move up from there. So I got in right at the bottom of this move pretty much. I got in on this white line. So it wasn't exactly the bottom, but it was quite close because like as soon as this inverted hammer came in, it just jumped up to that white line. And at that point, I was just like, get in, you know, get in now or don't get in at all is basically what happened there. So I just quickly got in. And I ended up with a risk to reward on this trade. Let's go in here, click it right at my entry point. I ended up with a risk to reward on this trade with looking for about a 2. It's not bad. I was looking for about a 2. Now, if you look at these lines on my chart here, the red is obviously my stop loss. The white I just mentioned was my entry point. Now you also see an orange and a green. The orange is an area I expect price to struggle a little bit before continuing on up or reversing if it doesn't continue on up. This is an area I'm looking for price to potentially betray its next move, and that could be against me. So I'm willing to exit at that orange line if I don't see strength. The green line is where I'm going to set a very, very tight stop loss and to take profit. It's basically what the intention is. How do I come to those lines? Well, in this particular case, I go to the pre-market, right? I went to the pre-market. Let me go back to the 5 minute here. This will look a little cleaner on the 5 minute. On the 5 minute chart here on the left, you can see that this is a bear flag right here, right? Okay, give me my brush. A bear flag right there. So I set my orange line here at the bottom of that bear flag, and I set my green line at the top of the bear flag. And those were the areas I was looking for price to potentially reverse on me. Now, price could have very easily gone up to around this area here, around 176.91. That's where a lot of the trading happened here from the aftermarket and pre-market, and slightly below where price closed the day before, which would be a gap closure, which we could have easily gotten. And that factors into my strike price that I'll go over here in a second. So let's take a look at how that went. So price, I entered about a little after 725 on this big candle here. I entered in on, honestly, this red candle, near the end of this red candle, because I was looking at the 1 minute at that point. I was looking at the 1 minute. So I got in on this red candle. And then I had the green candle, another green candle, and then on the 5 minutes. So when I'm looking to exit my trade, I'm not watching the 1 minute anymore. It's too much noise. I move over to the 5. And on the 5 minute, it was just a charge up the whole 5 minutes, just all the way up to my green line there. So I didn't even think about cutting at this orange line because on the 5 minute, it just kept going. It just kept going. It didn't look like it struggled almost at all on the 5 minute chart while I was watching this thing. And then it went up to the green line. As soon as it crossed that green line, I set my stop loss for about $5 under current price, and then just started raising it every single step of the way. Like I was raising it by $1 every single time this little candle started moving up a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then it cut me out here on this candle at 750. So I entered about 730-ish, 725, between 720. Oh, sorry. Yeah, about 730-ish is about where I entered. And then I exited at 750. So this was a 20-minute trade. And that 20-minute trade was down here, this one. It represented about $100 in gain. And you can see here I bought 2 contracts for 365 at the 177.50 strike price, which was the closest strike price to my ultimate top that was around, set 176.91 from the pre-market that I just showed you. That was the closest strike price to that ultimate high that I was trying to look for. And I ended up closing those. The strike price was 177.50. The expiration date was 5/17, so May 17th, about a week and a half from now. And then I exited that trade at 750, which was 20 minutes later, for $420 per contract. 2 contracts again, remember, for a total of $838.66. So slightly over $100 on that trade. So hopefully you found that entertaining. Hopefully that gave you some kind of information or insight into the psychology of the trade here, at least from today's perspective. If you'd like to see more of these, please let me know in the comments. If you'd like to not see more of these, also let me know about that in the comment. I want to bring you what you want to see. If you didn't find this entertaining at all, I'd want to know about that. If you want to know more about, like, if you want to hear more about successful trades or even losses, if you want me to tell you about my losses, happy to do that too. I do lose sometimes. So with that said, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.